2024 was a year the people of Rivers State wouldn't forget in a hurry, as the political crisis in the state threw the state literally into chaos. The battle for supremacy between former Governor Nyesom Wike and his successor, Governor Simi Fubara, almost crippled the affairs of the state. Despite the distractions caused by all this, Governor Fubara has forged ahead with running the affairs of the state. The Rivers State Governor, a few days ago, presented a 2025 budget appropriation bill of 1.188 trillion naira to the three-man Victor Oko-Jumbo-led State House of Assembly. This was Fubara's second budget presentation since assuming office in May 2023, despite the crisis rocking the leadership of the Assembly over the defection of 27 lawmakers led by Martin Ameulule. The governor had in 2023 presented an 800 billion naira appropriation bill for the 2024 fiscal year to the four-member Assembly, then led by Edison Ehie, a former House leader. The governor presented the 2025 appropriation bill shortly after delivering his address to the lawmakers at the temporary Assembly Auditorium in Government House in Port Harcourt. Joining us on this show this morning as we look ahead at what should be the priority for Rivers State in the year 2025 is Tonye, former Rivers State governorship candidate under the All Progressives Congress, APC. Good morning, Mr. Tonye, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Good morning, my boss. How are you?
Good.
Happy New
Year.
Year.
Happy New Year again.
Okay, it's good you talked about Happy New Year. Let's start on that note. I mean, we were discussing with Adefemi Akinsanya, our international correspondent, reporting from Paris, France. And we were talking about New Year resolutions. So let's start with that. What will be your resolutions for Nigeria? Before we go to your village, Rivers State, which is the main subject, what will be your, policy resolutions that we would like to see for Nigeria? And at a personal level, what will be your resolutions? And what would you like to say to Nigerians on this day when we are all celebrating the survival in 2024 and the embrace of a new year, 2025?
Incidentally, I'm not sure I have ever been as excited about the prospects of a new year or a year as this one. For some reason, there is some inexplicable optimism inside of me as to what 2025 portrays for Nigeria and Nigerians. I think this is a year that will surprise a lot of people. It's a year where bold and audacious steps yield extreme results. It's a year of surprises. A lot of people are going to be surprised about new things that happen and are bold and come out. And I think it's a year of boldness and courage. People have been very quiet and watching. 2024 was a very subdued time for Nigerians. People just coming, watching, and trying to figure out where to go. I suspect that a lot of people now have an understanding that it's enough. It's enough for being quiet. It's enough for just looking. And now it's time to get out and do something different and something bold and courageous. And that's what I see. At least in my case, that's exactly what I believe, that this is the time for bold and courageous steps.
Yeah, but your own personal resolutions.
That's my resolution.
And for Nigerians.
That's my resolution. And I would say this to Nigerians, that don't be timid. We have never been known as a timid people. We are people that actually are audacious, resilient, and determined. This is the time to bring it to the fore. I would say to Nigerians, don't give up on Nigeria, first of all. Do not give up on yourselves, and do not give up on what Nigeria can be and what you can be. Just be bold, be courageous, and do new things. Just go out and do it.
All All right. Well, speaking about being bold and courageous, very easily takes us to Rivers State. Many might attribute those qualities to the governor, especially having gone through what he has gone through with the last appropriation bill, still coming and, cut and paste pretty much of the same format that happened last year. We're seeing it happening again this year with the budget presentation. Before we get too deep into it, what are your key takeaways from it? Well, your initial reactions to what we witnessed.
First and foremost, I don't think he has much of a choice. You cannot be in government, run a government, and you don't have a budget, you don't have an assembly, you don't have a cabinet. It's impossible. And so if you're going to be a governor, these things are necessary, so you have to do it. We've seen that by following those terms, by being bold, by being courageous, by facing up to the opposition that he has had, he's had to carve his own way. Prior to now, he was known as somebody who was timid and quiet. He's shown that I'm not timid, I'm not quiet, and I have to do this. Will he survive? Will things take a different tone as we're heading towards 2027? That's a totally different argument. But for now, he doesn't have a choice. You either fight or you die. You swim or you sink. And he has chosen to swim. And it's better that you die fighting than you sit down as a coward and die many times. That's my summation for him. He had no choice.
Okay, with this budget presentation in Rivers State, 1.188 trillion naira, the governor boasting he has done a lot. One, in terms of capital projects, infrastructure, and all of that. That's your state. Is he making a valid claim that he has done a lot in that regard? Because he's talking about inclusive growth and development. The period that he has spent in that office, do you agree with him that he has been able to do that? Two, the big elephant in the room is the ruling of the Federal High Court in Abuja regarding the validity even of the 2024 budget presentation, which he presented to, a fraction of about 4 or 5 persons constituting the State House of Assembly. And Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik, I think that's the name, if I remember correctly, said, no, that was wrong. That's not what the Constitution says. You can't present a budget to 3 or 4 persons. Now, he has repeated the same offense this time around. That Federal High Court, of Justice Abdul-Malik said, look, the federal government was wrong to have withheld allocations to that made Rivers people happy. They said, oh, this is victory. But the other part of the ruling, it looks like Governor Fubara ignored it and still repeated the offense by presenting the 2025 appropriation bill before, is it 4 persons?
Okay, interesting fact. I think one of the things that we've seen over and over and over again is various interpretations of law in Nigeria. This is one country that people interpret laws the way they want, however they want it. They kick it down, kick the bucket down the road, knowing that another case is going to come up. I'm sure in Governor Fubara's head, one of the things that he probably will be doing, he hasn't told me, but this is my own observation on how Nigeria politics goes. You take a decision, you work with that decision regardless of whether you think it's obeying the law or not. You wait for the next case that is going to come, and then you challenge it then because you believe. I've never seen, it's only Nigerian politics that I've seen the kind of optimism that says that a case, no matter how bad it is, you can change it, that it will change down the line. And so my belief is that he's just saying that, you know what, let me continue. Somebody is going to sue me down the line again. And when we get to court, at that time, we'll address it. But for now, let's just keep going. And that's what I think he is doing.
No, you are accusing of contempt and impunity, because when the court rules, you are obliged to obey the court. Otherwise, you are contemptuous of the court.
My brother,
so he's guilty of contempt in your estimation?
What I would say is that I'm sure he has decided to interpret it in the way that it... And this is what I've seen over and over again. It is one country where, to a large extent, politicians have done whatever they want, however they want, regardless of whether they believe that that judgment goes in their favor or against their favor, that they will fight another day in court. It's impunity, it's contempt, it's whatever you want to call it, depending on which side of the equation you are. I've seen this over and over and over again. So I don't think there's any politician in Nigeria that can get up and say that they have not interpreted any judgment in the way that they want. Always believing that the ultimate statement where they can no longer argue is when the Supreme Court has ruled. But even going to the Supreme Court, they go to the Supreme Court knowing that the same Supreme Court that has made certain judgments and written those judgments have reversed themselves, even on those judgments, to give counter judgments that have been contrary. We've seen this over and over again, and it leaves everybody confused that there's nothing that you can hold on to say that this is a precedent that if you are going this way, when it gets to the Supreme Court, it's going to end in your favor. Nigerian politics, you never can tell that it will end in your favor, even when there has been precedent. And so back to your 3-man or 4-man panel, there has been precedents before that says that this should not be done. But at the same time, there has been precedents where governors have run throughout their process with 3-men, 4-men, 5-men assemblies and have gotten to the end and nothing has happened. So when you see this kind of thing, you understand that it is total confusion. Everybody operates the way that they want to interpret it. And at the end of the day, maybe they will go through 4 years, maybe they will go through 8 years, maybe nothing will happen, maybe something will happen, but kick the bucket down the road and face whatever consequence you come. I think that's the judgment of how they operate in Nigerian politics.
Sad comment on the judiciary, but how about the second leg of the question? The claim by Governor Fubara that his achievements and impact in terms of infrastructure and development will seem to be unprecedented. He used the word unprecedented. You are from Rivers. You should know the state. You wanted to run it. So Fubara is the Messiah who has brought on unprecedented development.
I don't think anybody will tell you that they're the Messiah in anything. On the one hand, Nigerian public judge performance based on things that they can see, roads, bridges, those kind of things. And development is always tied to that, and it's sad, unfortunately. So when Governor Fubara says that these are things that he's doing, when you break it down, it will be roads and things that you can see, public works like that. But the development that Rivers State eventually needs are human capacity development. At the end of the day, the poverty in Rivers State is beyond belief. The degradation of the human being, and what they aspire to, and who their role models are, very different. The kind of education and where we stand when it comes to ICT, technology, where it comes to vying. We're talking about Lagos and how people have come all over the world, coming to Lagos to come and enjoy themselves. What's happening? They spent a lot of money, the kind of money that was exchanged this December here in Lagos by people coming from all over the world. Why? Why are they coming here? There's a sense of safety. Why are they coming here? There's a sense that you can put up an investment and you will make money out of it. This is what Rivers State should be building. But roads, people see it, they're happy with it, but I think we can do much better.
All right. In the spirit of doing much better, at the center of this all, of course, is, one person who's turning out to be a mega personality. Some people analyze and say that, well, it's because the state belongs to the opposition, and maybe if it were an APC state, there would be some restraint from the top or from the center. But, at the end of the day, the personality at the center of this all, we're all unclear as to where his true loyalties lie beyond himself. So it's still unclear how much, should I say, interference would happen, whichever party the state belongs to. Having said that, and having looked at those big personalities and those dynamics at play, what do you say is the path to stability?
Okay, but you didn't mention anyone, so I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, it's obvious. I'm talking about the former governor, Nyesom Wike.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so that we're clear as to who we're. Look, I think one of the biggest problems that we have today in Rivers State is that it's a partyless state. River State is neither APC, nor PDP, nor PPP. I can't even remember which party the local government officials stand. The House of Assembly on one side may be APC, it may be PDP. Today is one way, it's another. And that's what you have. It's a state of confusion. And that cannot be allowed to continue. But for some reason, we have a minister that is PDP in an APC government who controls to a large extent both APC and PDP structures within the state. No, it's untenable. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it bodes well for River State.
What's the path to stability? Had you won that election and you were in this position?
No, if I had won the election, it would have been a totally different case, because then it would have been an APC government within an APC national clear. There will be none of this thing, and there will be an opposition which every state needs, which would have been a PDP opposition trying to vie to make sure that they get it back. But that's not what you have.
But you say he has both APC structures and PDP structures. So would he have just willingly handed over his structures to you? And would you have played?
No, but I would not have been fighting to take over the PDP structure. I might have been striving to ensure that PDP as an opposition and all of that forms the kind of bulwark that I need to ensure that I continue to prove them wrong by showing what kind of what true development means and how it is done. But what you see today is that the governance is difficult. It's difficult to show what you're doing, and which is why we're going back to roads, because you have to keep showing that, oh, I'm working. The other one is long-term, it's deeper, it's not seen, and it puts you forward for what is to come tomorrow. Unfortunately, what is to come tomorrow, we're not even working on it. What we are working on, infrastructure.
You said in River State, there are no real parties. Well, maybe the same can be said for the entire country, because the political party system in Nigeria is still, inchoate, if we may use that expression. But let's talk about the key personalities in River State politics, because the state moved from political party ideology now to the politics of personalities. Right. And what is out there is, this controversy between Dr. Peter Odili and former governor, now minister, Nyesom Wike. And he says that, in fact, instead of former governor Peter Odili referring to him as a man who is trying to build a personal estate, that in fact is Dr. Peter Odili himself, who has established himself as a general overseer of River State politics, with his wife as chairman of council, his daughter as commissioner, another daughter as a magistrate, and he built a house, with Julius Berger, with state funds for Dr. Peter Odili. Now, what is the implication of all of this in terms of River State politics? And it's not only Wike fighting Dr. Peter Odili. Wike is also fighting Total Chairman, Uche Secondus. Fights at all fronts. Fubara fighting Wike. Now, where are the people of River State in all of this? Human beings have made themselves the main focus of River State politics.
In fact, you've asked the right question, or at least you brought out the correct topic. I think there are three things that are happening right now. Internal conflict will always bring out things that you never would have seen. Had this fight not gotten to where it is, and had it not gotten as dirty as it has, all of these accusations and counter-accusations would never have come out. So today people are sitting down and looking and saying that, wow, is this exactly what has happened? Maybe there were rumors before. Maybe we felt that these things might have been the case. But now, people are coming out and saying, this is what this person did or has or took or appropriated, and this is what the other one has done. At the end of the day, I believe that what we're going to see is that the people of River State, now I'm talking about the people, because thus far it has been the political families within River State that have dictated, corrected, handled, taken, done whatever they wanted to do. At some point, people are going to rise up, and I think this is where we are going to see the kind of change that Nigeria, both at a state level and a federal level, is going to happen. Where people are going to sit down and say, you know what, for many years we haven't mattered, our voices have not mattered. It didn't matter what we said, where we did. People did whatever they liked, but I think enough is enough. I suspect and I truly believe that what you are going to see is an uprising of the people at some point. And those who have taken the commonwealth of states, whether federal or state-wise, they're going to have a very strong rethink. Cannot continue. Business cannot continue as usual, and that's why I believe that the fate of those who continue to steal the commonwealth of our people, they're in for a big shock.
Some people would say state capture is stronger than all of those things, because what we've seen time and time again is we've seen history repeating itself, especially in River State. Yes, this is more pronounced, and I think because we're in the era of social media, we now get all these video clips and speeches in real time, and they're circulated widely. But we all know what happened with the former governor, Rotimi Amechi. We know, if you just go down through history. So are you sure that, I understand the optimism you're placing on, shall I say, the tenacity of the people to want better, but this state capture in itself is a system that somebody like Siminalayi Fubara, even Nyesom himself, was a local government chairman before. He came from the grassroots.
Absolutely.
So are we not misplacing our optimism and maybe relinquishing responsibility as leaders by saying, oh, the people will rise up?
Oh, no, but the people rise up and follow people who get up and say that this must stop. I love it when we quote history, because history repeating itself in short term, right, always seems as if this is exactly what's happened. But when you look back over a longer term, you find that state capture in many places has always come to an end. At some point, it ends. For a little while, everybody benefits from it. It's the best thing. Everybody's jumping towards it. But history, the same history, will show you that these things end. How it ends is different. It may end by an uprising. There are many ways. Let's leave how it will end. But one thing I'm sure about is that this cannot last. It must end. And that there are people who are determined that it will end. If there's one person in this life, in this era, in this time, that is determined that this kind of thing must end, I'm one of them. I believe it will end, it must end, and we will drive to make sure that it ends. It can't continue, at least in my lifetime. If I can't do it in my lifetime, we're going to make sure that we put the right kind of people that will get up and end it. It must end. Nigeria cannot continue like this. For how long are we going to continue? No, it will end. That's what I can assure you. It must end.
Okay, you are in the APC. Now, you say there's confusion in River State. Now, what's his name? Nyesom is amphibious. Amphibious in the sense that he's on both sides of the two major parties in the state. Now, Rotimi Amechi, he is still in the APC, you know, and you are still in the APC. Now, how are the two of you working together? Where is Amechi in all of this? Because he seems to be playing possum. He seems to have just disappeared from the radar. We have not been hearing his voice. What are the two of you doing together? He wanted to be president on the platform of the APC. You wanted to be governor on the platform of APC. You have ample opportunity to rebuild the APC as a strong party with character in APC. What are the challenges you face in terms of working together, in terms of positioning the APC as an alternative? And that's in response to your question that, there's no party in River State. What are you doing to rebuild your own party?
Okay. I cannot speak for Amechi.
Why? You are in the same party?
No.
Just like he will qualify as probably the leader of the party.
Just like I cannot speak for the president. I cannot speak for Nyesom. I cannot speak for anybody in the APC. I can't. They would have to speak for themselves. The fact that you have put on the ground, I accept. Amechi has not declared anywhere that I am no longer a member of APC. So what we can deal with on the facts is that he's still a member of APC. He has not said a word about what his plans are and all of that. So there's no way I can come and speak to him. He hasn't shared them with me. I cannot say, oh, this is what Amechi has said to me about what he's going to do. You are going to have to bring him into the studio, sit him down and ask him for that kind of answer. I cannot speak for him. But as for me, I remain in the APC regardless. What we have seen in Rivers State today is that the structure of the APC within Rivers State, more or less, from the top at the presidency, has been handed over to Nyesom Wike for him to run, determine how he wants to do. So we've seen this. Again, that's not a secret. It's something that has been done. And so we sit down there and we have also within us, at some point, people are going to come and sit down and make sure that there is a discussion as to what's going to happen. I paid my dues. I ran a campaign. That campaign was taken away from me. My election at the end of the day, but that's for another, I mean, it's done, we've moved on. What has to happen today is that Rivers State cannot, and the determination of Rivers State cannot be done in isolation from those of us that also paid our dues. We must sit down and have a conversation.
Well, thanye you very much, Mr. Tonye. Once again, we wish you a very happy New Year.